All right, it looks like I'm or not live, but recording. So how's it going, guys? I am posting this video. It's going to be kind of a disorganized video, and you're going to notice that the quality of the video is lower than what it normally is, and that's because I'm actually using my webcam to record this video. As this is more of a rant and talking video, I guess. I am going to assume this is going to be a longer video, and I hate having to stop and start the recording on my camera oftentimes. And you can tell this is still good quality. I have a good quality webcam, and so I just have to hope that there's not a ton of frame droppage. The problem with I'm recording with OBS, which I have to do because of the webcam. I oftentimes, as the video progresses, there'll be more and more dropped frames, which causes, as you go along, a bigger difference between the video and the audio, which becomes annoying. If that happens, I suggest minimizing the video and just doing something else while listening to what I have to say, because there's no visual necessity to what I'm doing. And let me start off by saying that I apologize for the pills in the background right here. Just be known that this pill bottle right here it's non-prescription. It's nothing bad. It's a supplement for stomach acid. I have low stomach acid, and so it's just a supplement for that I don't even really take anymore. And then those are just pills that I take for health issues. I'm not some drug abuser or anything like that. I try to crop those out of most videos, but I can't zoom with my webcam, sadly. So this is just, I don't even know what I'm going to title it, like something like rape rant or something along those lines. But it's hard to title what I want to talk about, because I'm talking about a specific experience that happened today that, it affected me emotionally, and it just caused a lot of problems, but kind of different than what I was expecting, and I actually didn't expect this to happen. So let me explain what happened and then get a little bit more in depth. But real quick, I'm actually getting pretty warm. This video will most likely remain completely unedited, because when I do a rant, I just want to talk about my thoughts. I just want to express something, and so it seems more human if it's unedited. There most likely won't be anything cut out unless there's like a problem or something like that. So yeah, just be known that there's going to be a lot of, this isn't a very formal video, and I'm not feeling up to recording an actual video. Also, I apologize for looking down a lot, but I don't know, it's just I'm kind of in a weird place right now. But essentially what happened was I hung out with my girlfriend today, and my girlfriend is in college. She's the same age as me, goes to the same college, and she doesn't identify as a feminist. She's not sure if she identifies as a feminist or not, but not really. And we've talked about issues related to feminism before. We've kind of had a little back and forth, but nothing serious, like not close to a fight or anything. And usually I can convince her of one thing or another, because I can show her actual statistics to represent what I'm saying and back it up. But so we were hanging out, and I started talking about the art and gender class that I am in, that I actually posted a video on the channel for my introduction for. Should be the video before this, actually. And I was telling her about how we had to do a discussion post on gender, and how gender is related to culture, kind of, which that is essentially what feminism is about, is gender in our culture. I mean, right now, there's not a single legal right that a man has that a woman doesn't. So it really comes down to what our culture is and how our culture views women, is essentially what the debate has come to, other than the unbelievable radicals who, are for the actual female supremacy. But I was just telling her about the class, and how I made a couple posts for one of my assignments that I wasn't vehemently attacking feminism or anything like that. I just, made a jab at the fact that like supposedly women are oppressed in society. And she took issue with that. She first stated that women are oppressed because they earn less, which I quickly shot that down, and I explained it to her, but she wasn't really getting it, and so I actually showed her a video by Christina Hoff Sommers, which kind of led her to it, but then we got into a debate about the fact that she still thinks the oppression exists because even though there isn't a physical barrier to a woman taking a more or higher paying field or a higher paying degree or higher paying job, even though no physical barriers exist, that emotional or not emotional, mental barriers exist where she thinks like, oh, society wants me to be a blank, something less successful. And, I had to explain to her that the point of oppression is the fact that women have the freedom to do what they want. Her being the exact same age as me, we don't have the exact same degree. She's marketing and I'm accounting, but if she was doing accounting or I was doing marketing, we would have the exact same possibilities. And any decision she made any decision that lowered her income would be her choice. It wouldn't be something that is forced upon her. So she doesn't inherently make less because of her gender. There are outside reasons as to why she would make less. Whether society, she feels the pressure from society to join a lower paying degree, which she doesn't. And that's still a choice more than anything. Or whether she decides to work less hours or take time off for having kids. That's her decision as well. But it's her choice. And so women are not oppressed in this way because there is a choice for them. They have the freedom to do what they want, whether society thinks they should or shouldn't. And actually, nowadays, society is more than progressive enough to encourage women to enter higher paying degrees and fields. But what they found was I can't remember who was giving this speech or this talk, but essentially they gave this example. Essentially I think it was the UK, there were a bunch of colleges that their chemistry departments implemented an affirmative action case of new applicants to the program. It was a competitive program, but if 50 women applied and 100 men applied, they would have to take all 50 women and only 50 of the men. Affirmative action, it was like a quota. They had to have at least half women or whatever the quota was. I don't know what it was. But essentially what ended up happening is the departments ended up closing down because so many people joined the department and then left. And the majority of these people that left were women, and they went into things like psychology or, things along those lines where it's a more human interactive degree. And those degrees, guess what, earn less. I don't know how much a chemist would earn, but the point is that it found that women, despite being able to join these degrees, are not happy in them. They left because they weren't happy. They didn't like what they were doing, and so they joined lower paying degrees, which is, their choice. They could have stayed and they could have earned just as much as a man in the same position. And the fact of the wage gap, what the essential part is, if me and my girlfriend have the exact same degree, same experience, same resume and everything, and get the exact same job, and I earn more than her, that is a wage gap. That is sexism. However, you'd have to look at the factors involved, obviously, but if we earn, the fact that doesn't happen, we earn the same, is the fact that the wage gap does not exist. And so, I showed that to her, and she kind of agreed to disagree about some things. She disagreed that women earn less for the same work. That is unbelievably clear, even though people like Barack Obama repeat those misleading things about feminism. And then she said that she is kind of getting offended anytime I talk about feminism, because I kind of group feminists into a group based on the radicals. So when I say, oh, well, feminists are this, I'm grouping them into a group based on the decisions, the actions of the radicals. And she finds that offensive because some of her friends, I mean, we're at a very liberal college, some of her friends identify as feminists. And I had to explain to her that, yes, that's true that I do group them, but the reason I group them is because all feminists, well, not all, the majority of feminists, the overwhelming majority of feminists are harmful with whether they realize it or not. They could be, just like believe something harmful, or they could be full on advocating for female supremacy. Anywhere in between, it's still something harmful. And the problem is the fact that the radicals over here oversee all of the group, the movement that is feminists. The ones who have a voice in feminism are the radicals for the overwhelming majority of the time. So when you go on YouTube and you find a popular feminist, they're a radical. And so they have the most influence over people, which is why so many people, including my girlfriend who doesn't identify as a feminist, bought into the idea of a wage gap, even though it doesn't exist. And it's because these radicals have this influence over the group. And so I started talking about that, and I was saying that like they have these harmful ideals. And this is where things went bad. She asked what I mean by that. And I said, well, for example, they believe in a rape culture, which we don't live in a rape culture. At which point she kind of lost her mind. She was going off about how, we obviously live in a rape culture, especially at this specific university, because she hears so many of her friends got sexually assaulted or raped or something like that. And so that is a signifier and an obvious sign that we live in a rape culture. But we don't. And when I explained to her why that's true, and how I explained it is simple. If we lived in a rape culture, rape would be okay. We would allow rape. We wouldn't persecute rapists. And more importantly, the way, yes, rape happens. Rape is serious. Rape is a problem, and I outline that. But the problem is, a rape culture. Okay, well, the best way to say this is, let's say there was a false rape accusation, like at UVA, for example. What happened after the rape accusation? Before there was time to take the guy or guys to court, before anything, there were protests. There were people going to these guys' houses and harassing the shit out of them. And it was a frat house. They were harassing the shit out of the frat house. Almost everyone in the culture and society automatically believed her and came rushing in to not only defend her, but attack the fuck out of the guys. And then later it came out that it was a hoax. It was a false rape accusation. How do the people respond? Well, those guys are still looked down on. Those guys are still looked at as sexual predators, as sex offenders, even though they didn't actually rape anyone. Is that a rape culture? Had they been guilty, they would have been thrown in jail for, I don't know how long rape sentencing is, but I know it's quite a long time. Especially something like, I think it was a brutal gang rape. Like it was something where it was like actually like even more serious than just one single rape. It was like a group of people involved. And if they'd been guilty, they would have gone to jail. That is how we know we don't live in a rape culture. Men are vehemently attacked if they are even slightly accused of rape. And if they get convicted of rape, their asses are thrown in jail for the rest of not for the rest of their lives, for a long, long, long ass time. They're labeled a sex offender. They have to literally, anytime they go anywhere, anytime they move anywhere, they have to go to the neighbors and say, hey, I'm a registered sex offender, just letting you know. Okay, bye. And then also, it's on their permanent record. I mean, no one's going to hire someone who's a rapist into a serious job. And so I outline these points of how we clearly don't live in a rape culture, even though, yes, rape happens and rape is abhorrent and it is a problem. That doesn't mean we live in a rape culture. Murder is a problem. That doesn't mean we live in a murder culture. Drugs are a problem. It doesn't mean we live in a drug culture, et cetera, et cetera. And she took what I just said about rape culture as I don't take rape seriously. That was the conclusion she jumped to from me saying that even though rape is bad, there is no rape culture. She jumped to the conclusion that I don't think rape is serious. And this is where she was unbelievably pissed at me. And then we got into even more heated discussion after that, where we were talking about not really what constitutes consent, because we both agreed that in a situation where a woman has sex with a guy and then regrets it the next day, that's clearly not rape. That's not, there is consent, and you can't withdraw consent after the fact. She agreed with that, which is good. She's not, a dumbass radical feminist. Those are the ones who would disagree with that. But we disagreed on what can be labeled as rape. Because what I personally believe, and I strongly stand by this for the safety and protection of men, and some women too, is the idea that if there's sex going on, or like let's say for example there's making out going on, and then things start to progress further to sex, it is the job of the woman to make it clear in some way, shape, or form that she is not interested or doesn't want to have sex. She doesn't give consent. There is no need, I don't believe there should be a need for affirmative consent. The guy shouldn't have to say, can I have sex with you? It should just be, sex is a heat of the moment thing. We should just start, moving things forward and seeing what happens. I've seen videos of women saying that if they were getting hot and heavy with a guy and he stopped and asked, can I have sex with you? It would be a turnoff. Well, not necessarily that sex wouldn't happen after that, but you could just not even have sex after that. A guy could literally lose having sex because of something like that. And I'm not even saying that a woman has to shove the guy off, scream no, just freak out about it. She just needs to say, no, I don't want to have sex. Or even just try resisting, try pushing him, try stopping him from going further. That's all she needs to do. It is not up to the guy to get affirmative consent from something that is, in our culture, something you don't need to consent for, or don't ask for consent prior to. It would make more sense, a lot more sense, and for the safety of men, to have it be where a woman needs to make it clear. Now, obviously, the caveat to that is an important caveat is if a woman is belligerent and unable to say no, drugged and unable to say no, or gagged and unable to say no, then that's rape. Absolutely. But if there's sex happening and she doesn't make any attempt to stop or say no, she just goes along with it, how's the guy supposed to know that it's a bad thing, that she doesn't want it? Because there have been cases, few, but there have been cases where a woman seemed into it entirely, but she was just thinking to herself, oh, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Which sucks. But you need to make that clear. And I've never, probably no one is still watching this, but I've never actually formally said this in a video, but I am a victim of sexual assault. I was, actually, I don't even know if my girlfriend knows this, but when I was young, would have been like early grade school. So I think like somewhere between preschool and second grade, somewhere in there. I don't remember exactly where. I was molested by my neighbor, who was at the time I'm pretty sure he was in high school, or maybe older. I'm not sure, but he was somewhere between like 18 and 24, somewhere in that range, and he molested me. I literally am a victim of sexual assault, so I'm not just someone who's like has no experience in this issue. And not only that, but there has been a time that I can remember specifically where I was having sex with someone, and I was thinking to myself the whole time that I'm not enjoying this, that I wish I hadn't done this, and that I regret making this decision, that I'm not really wanting to have sex. But I continued with it, and so then, therefore, is that rape? No, it's not. I do not think I was raped. I know I was sexually assaulted. I was molested as a kid. But the second scenario where I was having sex, no, absolutely not. I made no inclination, no sign that I was not interested in this. And it's just, it's just so hard thinking about it. And like that's pretty much where the debate ended. We legitimately got in a big fight about it, and she was unbelievably offended by this. But here is why this really disturbs me. It's not because we got in a fight. It's not because we argued about feminism or anything like that. It's the fact that she doesn't even identify as a feminist, and she holds these views, these harmful views. Now, to her credit, she's not a bad person at all. She's just misinformed. Feminism has such a stranglehold, especially on college campuses, that most people are uneducated, or not uneducated, sorry, misinformed when it comes to a lot of issues. And so someone who isn't even a feminist, doesn't even identify as a feminist, buys into feminist propaganda. That is utterly terrifying. And it's kind of funny because, not funny, it's ironic because it would have been, what's today, September 30th. It would have been basically exactly a month ago. We were up in Seattle, and I was with my parents, actually. The four of us were, it was my mom. My dad was inside doing something. And me, my mom, and my girlfriend were sitting there talking about false rape accusations, because apparently my cousin falsely accused her boyfriend of rape. And so that we were talking about that. And the entire time, my girlfriend made unbelievable sense about what she was saying. She fully agreed that, rape should be innocent until proven guilty, despite the fact that, she did say at first that, it's hard to prove, so doesn't really agree with that. But then I explained that, that's all we have. Like, you can't change the judicial system just because something is hard to prove. We need to do more research into being able to prove rape versus just accepting people on their word. And she agreed with that. And so we were talking, we talked about that, and everything was perfectly fine. We almost didn't debate at all. And then this happened, and it's just so sad to see someone hold such harmful views without even realizing it. My girlfriend is not a bad person. She's just been lied to, she's been misled, and it's caused her to kind of have a disturbing outlook on things. To believe that the college we attend has its own rape culture is disgusting. I know rape happens, and I'm not trying to say it doesn't, but it's just, and she even parroted some of the statistics. She parroted the 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 statistic, and I had to explain why that's false. She didn't buy it. She just wouldn't buy it. I showed her in a video by fuck. Can't remember her name. A different person, not Christine Hoff Sommers, but someone else. I showed her a video of the 1 in 5 stat being debunked. She didn't believe that either, because in her mind, she'd been taught that this rape culture exists by these liberals and these feminists, these radical feminists, and so she bought in. So then she has a confirmation bias. Well, then she thinks, okay, well, I've heard a few of my friends say they've been raped or sexually assaulted, so it's clearly, clear evidence that rape culture exists, except for it's not. Once again, rape culture isn't about how many times a rape occurs. It's about if rape is okay in our culture, and if we have a culture that condones rape, if we have a culture that supports rape, which is clearly not true by what I stated at the beginning of the video. So, yeah, it's disturbing. It's disturbing as all hell to hear her have these views. Now, I don't hate her. I don't think she's stupid or anything like that. She's none of the above. Ignorance is not stupidity. She just doesn't know the facts. She bought in, just like a lot of other people buys into what feminists say, because it may make sense in their anecdotal example, but overall it doesn't exist. It's not real. It's fake. It's not something that is actually present, like rape culture. I think that's about it. As always, I'm looking for comments and criticisms of what I've had to say. Feel free to post it in the comments. I don't delete comments unless it's just like, just a purely hateful, like not a dissenting opinion, but coming out and saying like, oh, you're a nigger, and then that's it, and something stupid that has no substance, that's just a troll essentially. Those are the only comments I delete. If you have a true comment or criticism, I will happily leave it on the channel, and I will most likely respond if I see it. I don't, the way I set up my my channel, I'm not able to get notifications on my phone. I'm not able to get emails about when someone posts a comment. So if you post a comment, it might be a while before I respond, but I would happily respond. And if you make a good point, or actually if you make a good point or a bad point, I might make a video responding to it. But yeah, so that's about it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know how this looks with using OBS as the recording, because it will make things a lot easier. I recorded for almost half an hour. And the file size is unbelievably small compared to what it is with the camera, and I don't have to like reach behind and stop and start the recording. Like, it's literally just recording. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think of this video quality and what I have had to say in the video. I'm interested in seeing your guys' thoughts on everything. But yeah, so guys, everyone, have a nice day.